Called the Tricky Triangle by some, three-cornered Pocono Raceway is utterly unique. Situated in the Pocono Mountains of northeastern Pennsylvania, the 2.5-mile tri-oval features three very different turns, connected by straightaways of varying lengths. Turn 1, banked at 14 degrees. Turn 2, the tunnel turn, is banked at 8 degrees. And Turn 3 at just 6 degrees. Pocono's main straightaway is the longest on any North American speedway at 3,740 feet. The Long Pond straightaway stretches for 3,055 feet between turns 1 and 2, while the run from turn 2 to 3 is a mere 1,780 feet. The resulting speedway poses special demands on drivers and car chief alike, for a chassis that works well on the steeply banked turn 1 will be less than ideal for the flatter turn 2, let alone turn 3. And the downforce necessary for maximum grip in any of the turns will slow a car on the long straights. Turn 3 requires heavy braking, in some cases even a gear change, making Pocono Raceway among the world's most challenging speedways. Pocono Raceway first opened for business in 1969, featuring a 3/4-mile oval. The 2.5-mile speedway was completed in 1971 and immediately began hosting one of the jewels in IndyCar racing's Triple Crown of 500-mile races. Local hero Mario Andretti battled the likes of A.J. Foyt, Al and Bobby Unser, Johnny Rutherford and Gordon Johncock in USAC-sanctioned IndyCar races. NASCAR was also at Pocono from the early days, as witnessed by the fact Richard Petty won NASCAR's inaugural Pocono 500 in 1974. Pocono also staged a number of top-flight sports car races in combination road course oval layouts in the 70s and 80s, as well as various short track events on the original 3/4-mile oval encircling the main pit area. No road racing tonight. It's the Howell Graphics Pocono Raceway 70, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Pocono Raceway for tonight's Howell Graphics Pocono Raceway 70. Race details for tonight, well, 70 laps, 78-degree ambient temperature, 55% humidity, clear skies, a 2-mile-per-hour breeze, track temperature about 108 degrees currently. Fuel capacity for this evening at 80% and 2 sets of tires available over the wall. Again, practice just about wrapped up here. Jeremy Paris, currently the fastest truck on the speedway in the black number 24. Again, a 25-minute practice session. Jump right into qualifying immediately to follow. Second quick, Kevin Winker, Chris Watkins third, Heath Snyder fourth, and Brant Morrow in fifth. One new name in this particular league this week, TJ Elaine, the number 96. First race of the season for TJ. Just about 15 seconds shy of the session coming to a close. And again, as we said, we'll get right into qualifying immediately after. Set the field for tonight's race. Well, that wraps up the session. Jeremy Paris going to be fastest in the practice session. Looks like Brent Morrow first to pit lane here. He's going to roll here to start his session, his qualifying attempt. Morrow out of Jasper, Alabama. Showing a lot of pace here in the last handful of races. Morrow takes the green flag, lap number 1 of his qualifying attempt. Ten-minute session to lock in the field for tonight's race. 2 laps, whatever comes first. And Morrow locks down the brakes here. Not sure, maybe something amiss here on the 71, choosing not to complete this lap. Chris Watkins still sits in his pit box, or at least at the end of pit lane before qualifying is to start. So not sure the situation here as to why really nobody else here in the session is taken to the racetrack as of yet. Maybe everybody on the same page here trying to get the track to cool off just a bit before we go out and throw these laps down. Track temp 107 degrees, only 1 degree cooler than when we first came to air. Still not sure what the situation is here. And we're going to step aside here, get a break out of the way here, and hopefully we get this squared away. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Just don't know where that baby of mine. Well, I just don't know. Have mercy, brother.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Pocono Raceway. Little technical difficulty on the league side of things. Had to set up a new session here. Possibly some settings not quite right for tonight's league race. So stay with us. A little bit extended practice session before we get into qualifying here once again. So stay with us. We're not going anywhere. We're right here at HBR TV. But we will be back here shortly for qualifying and then, of course, the subsequent race. So stay with us. We'll be back after not too long.
Just don't know where that baby of mine. Well, I just don't know. Have mercy, brother.
Back into Pocono Raceway, getting ready to start qualifying again. We're going to watch Brandon Domain as he leaves pit lane. Lap times in practice down in the 54-second range. We'll see what Brandon can pull off here as he exits turn 3. Yes, turn 3. Only 3 major corners here at Pocono Raceway. Sean Roberts in the stream chat says, starting my home race from the rear of the grid, what could go wrong? Well, Sean, you're in the race. I'd imagine there's potential for a lot to go wrong. Just the way your luck has gone in some of these seasons. Just be careful. Meanwhile, Brent Morrow goes top of the board at 54.84. Chris Klein second quick, 55.07. His Domain crossed the stripe. He's got a 55.25. Again, Morrow's first lap, 54.844. We'll see if he can improve here. Meanwhile, Paris goes top of the board, 54.69. That was on Paris's first lap. Top 4 drivers currently under the 55-second mark. Morrow on a turn 3, back to the start-finish line. Plug check and all, does not improve. Pretty consistent, but not faster for his second time by. Current provisional pole sitter, Jeremy Paris, again a 54.697. Real loose out of the corner. I don't think he ever lifted, though. $54.79, so about a tenth slower on his second lap is Jeremy Paris. Heath Snyder goes P1 with a 54.69, almost identical lap time to Jeremy Paris. It shows identical. It's a 6.95 to be exact, just under. Memory serves me right, Paris ran a 6.97. That's correct, 6.97 for Paris. Snyder crosses the line, also first lap quicker for Snyder. Chris Goins first lap, 55.109 as he exits the tunnel turn. And look at that in the timing towers. Brett Guzik goes to the pole. Second lap for Chris Goins in the books does improve, 55.029 is Guzik's first lap, or second lap, that is a 6.94. Beats out Snyder by 1/1000th of a second. Got 54.69, all 3 drivers within the top 3 there with the same lap time, at least to the 100th. It's a 6.94 for Guzik, a 6.95 for Snyder, and a 6.97 for Paris. Doesn't get any tighter than that. 54.960 for the first lap for Drew Blaze. Down into turn number 3. 4 minutes to go in the session. Majority of the drivers have taken their time. Looks like TJ Lane, Sean Roberts not taking a lap to this point. Blaze back to start finish across the stripe, finishes up his lap. Does he improve? Slightly no. 55.074. Blaze sits in P12, likely to stay there. So with that opportunity, we're going to jump out here for the next few minutes here, get another break out of the way. We'll be back. Oh, never mind. They've called it a little bit early here. A few minutes left in the session, scheduled for 10 minutes. Admin's chopping that off about 3 minutes to save some time here. So let's just get right to it. No commercials necessary. Let's take a look at our starting grid tonight. On the pole position with a lap time of 54.694 seconds, it's Brett Guzik. Outside front row, missed it by 1/1000th of a second. It's the number 29 of Heath Snyder. Outside front row, Jeremy Paris, the number 24. Well, he missed it by 2/1000ths of a second. We talked about how tight those top 3 were. Never seen it. That's crazy. Brant Morrow's going to start in the 4th spot, the number 71. Kevin Grettenberger, the 57, starts 5th. Brandon Domain will roll from P6. Starting 7th, Kevin Winker, the number 42. Brian Shepard starts 8th. Scott Beardmore, the number 28, will start 9th. Chris Watkins with ASR Racing, he'll start in the 10th spot. Starting in the 11th position, the 05 of PJ Cox. To his right elbow, it is the 1 of Drew Blaze. Starting in 13th, it's the number 93 Warhawk Motorsports entry of Mitchell Howell. Starting 14th, it's Ken Couch. 15th starter belongs to Chris Goins. 16th is going to be Chris Klein. 17th going to Jared Haynes. Tim Stubblefield, the number 92, will start 18th. TJ Elaine, the number 96 entry, he'll start from the 19th spot. And as we mentioned earlier on, the 66 of Sean Roberts going to be starting from the tail of the field in the 20th position. It's your starting grid here from Pocono Raceway. So getting ready to go racing here, finally, just a moment or two. Field sits here in pit lane, just getting ready to head out onto the racetrack for a 1 pace lap. Got Matt Sisler in the stream chat making point to mention out the intervals between the top 3. Pole to P3, 2/1000ths of a second. The gap between those 3 drivers, incredible. Field rolling the exit at turn number 1 here. Brett Guzik with pole. Jeremy Paris will start to his outside in that black number 24. 2 unsponsored trucks here at the front of the field. You don't see that very often. 2 very fast drivers here at the front of the field. That's the other part of it. These guys are definitely not slow. The fact that there's nobody wanting to be on board those trucks to represent their brand, I just find that interesting. Look at the grid here once again. It was Guzik, Snyder, Paris. Morrow's going to start 4th. And it looks like Snyder may have had to go to the back here for a penalty, or he remains in the pits. Maybe he's starting from pit lane. That could be the case too. Pace car, a very hard left turn down pit lane. Barney with the green in hand. We're racing from Pocono Raceway. Big time push for the 24 of Jeremy Parrish into the back of Brett Guzik. I don't know if Guzik just got a late start there, mistiming the green. Domain way up the racetrack through turn 2. Do they get out of the tunnel turn without contact? Yes, they do. Lap 1 in the books. Guzik leads them back to the stripe. Jeremy Parrish running second. Brent Morrow, Kevin Frankberger, Brandon Domain, the top 5. Battle for the second spot. Brant Morrow dumps down to the low side of the racetrack. Parrish just slips up. I don't know if that was an intentional here, I'll let you go, or if he made a very small mistake. Nevertheless, the 24 up the racetrack into the third spot now. Morrow takes second. Grettenberger thinking, well, maybe I'll try this too into turn number 2. Nothing doing there. Parrish now all over the tailgate of the 71. Little contact. Oh, and around he goes. Brent Morrow off the nose of Jeremy Parrish off turn number 3. It's going to collect a multiple amount of trucks here. Drew Blaze. PJ Cox dumps it down pit lane to avoid big time trouble here out of turn 3 very early on. Well, that's not what you like to see. First caution of the evening already on the racetrack. Well, let's get a look. Back it up a little further here. We're just going to ride on board here with Jeremy Parrish, who is the trailing truck behind the 71. And this is the middle of turn 3. Might be some contact here. We saw that when we were running the onboard with the 71. There's a little bit of a push there, and that just sends him up a little. But it looks like Parrish is going to come back and get him again here, but a little off to the right, and that's just going to turn the 71 around. So Morrow collects the 5 of Watkins. Drew Blaze just turning it down, try to avoid, and he's going to get collected by another driver. I think that is the 51. Back it up here once again, get another peek at this. So there's the first hit. It loosens up to 71, which of course slows his pace. Then Parrish just gets over to the right there and just hits him again. But you hit him off center like that, and they're going to go around. Jonathan Arn in the stream chat says that was too aggressive. Second lap of the race, I would have to agree. But good news for all involved. One fast repair for these drivers here tonight. Those that needed it, well, they have to use it. And those that don't, lucky them. So back across the start-finish line, pace car lights are out. We're going to try this one again here. Go back green flag racing the next time by. Again, an 80% fuel load here tonight. 2 sets of tires available over the wall. So a total of 3 sets to work with throughout this 70-lap event.
Negative, they called it off.
And we're going to go one more time around here. Brant Morrow back in pit lane. Is he going to be out of this one? Hard to say. Might be, unfortunately, for the 71. So lights back on. We're going to go another pace lap. About 2 full minutes to complete an extra pace lap here at Pocono Raceway. Drivers taking advantage of the extra pace lap. Heath Snyder, PJ Cox both rolling down pit lane. Likely to top off for fuel. Those drivers near the back of the pack. Not much to lose at this point. Remember, PJ had to buzz down pit lane here to avoid that wreck. And that's all it was, just topping off the tank. So Heath Snyder, PJ Cox will regroup with the field at the back. Brant Morrow involved in that first caution still has not rejoined the field. Might be out of this one. So now we're on the one to go again. Pace car is going to take the hard left down pit lane here. Let's come back to the green flag here in just a moment.
Ready,
Field into the restart zone. Green flag is in the air, and we're back racing. Guzik out in front here puts a little bit of a distance back to the 57 of Kevin Grettenberger, just about 6.5 tenths that is. Brandon Domain running third, Winker fourth, Couch fifth. Change of position between Domain and Winker. Winker goes up into that third position. Ryan Shepard all over the 08 of Ken Couch. Gave Ken a bit of a push into the corner, wasn't able to maintain his position right to the back bumper. Opens the door for Chris Goins to the inside here. 8 laps go up on the board. Goins pressing for that position. Be for the 6th position. Shepard up the racetrack, almost gets a piece of the outside safer barrier. Chris Goins still to the inside, trying to complete that pass. Ken Couch is loving it. These two are fighting it out. He doesn't need to worry about either of them, at least for the time being. And we got Shauna on the stream chat saying, go Winker. Shauna, thanks for being here. Jones dives it down into turn 3 here. Finally gets clear, but just by an inch, maybe. Ryan Shepard not lifting a little bit at all. Stays right tucked in behind that Popple Pro Ford F-150. Fight here between Jared Haynes and Chris Watkins. This for 9th and 10th. Haynes the number 89, Watkins in the 5. And just ahead, Sean Roberts, remember, started dead last year, up into the 8th position already. Certainly reaped some of the benefits of that first caution and those that were involved in it. Was able to pick up a bunch of spots, but certainly not that many from the wreck itself. Made some of those passes on the racetrack. Well, Jeremy Paris up into the 11th spot. Remember, he was involved in that incident. Brant Morrow, just a little bit ago, he's up in the 11th spot. I don't know if he took an EOL for that or not. It looks like he may have, as he's dipped back. Well, he's mid-pack right now, but I'm not sure where he took the restart from. Meanwhile, Mitchell Howell's on pit lane with some significant damage to the nose of that number 93. Not seeing what's caused this incident. We certainly didn't get another caution. Mitchell finally using a fast repair here. I don't know if he got a piece of that first crash and never fixed it, or if this is something new. Either way, Howell back on the racetrack here after losing a lap. Battle back out in front here. Guzik, Grettenberger, Winker, the top 3. Winker looking to the inside on the 57 for that 2nd spot. No drafting help for Winker, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him too terribly, at least for the time being. Again, these trucks are big and boxy. They punch such a big hole in the air, they will create a pretty significant draft in behind them. So we still have this fight here for the 2nd spot. Winker and Grettenberger going at it. Out of turn 3. Winker thought about tucking back in behind. He does it last minute. Domain had a bit of a run on a 3. Thought he was going to dive to the inside. Top 5 starting to get away from the rest of the field here, especially the top 4. Ken Couch running in the 5th spot in the 08. Was able to put some distance between himself and Chris Goins back in P6. Just like that, Couch is able to close up with these top four. Again, we talked about the giant hole these trucks punch in the air, creating that draft. Certainly helped the 08 on the straightaway. Off turn 4, Guzik still with the lead, and the battle for second continues between Winker and Grettenberger. Grettenberger the outside lane, the black and white number 57. Winker on the bottom of the 42. Jeremy Paris now up in the 9th spot. Trying to take 8th away from Jared Haynes. Haynes way up the racetrack, slides it up the top, into the loose stuff, keeps it out of the fence, but easily Jeremy Paris taking over that 8th position and closing fast on the rest of these guys. Ryan Shepard with a connection issue for a brief moment. You saw the 88 truck kind of blink in and out there for just a moment. Meanwhile, Kevin Winker took over that second spot and didn't waste any time to start challenging Brett Guzik for the race lead. Here he is, trying to take it away here. 14 laps in, was alongside, maybe had a nose out in front for a brief moment. Guzik battles back, gets the lead back away from the 42. Winker tucks back in behind out of turn 3. Another run coming for Winker. He's going to take a look down into turn 1. Gets alongside. Winker and Guzik down the Long Pond straightaway. We're going to talk about tire fall off. We're only 15 laps in. Best lap so far, at least for the leaders, Kevin Winker to 54.79. The last lap, now that these tires are starting to heat up and get some wear into them, a 56.13. Guzik still hanging on to that top spot. Interestingly, we didn't really expect to see this a whole lot in a place like Pocono, where you've got 3 distinctly different corners, and that's the outside line kind of being very competitive as far as defending against the pass. We see that in a lot of places like Chicagoland or even Michigan or even California. But for the most part, those corners from one end to the other pretty similar. Here, completely night and day different. Time being, it's working out for the 04 of Brett Guzik. Off turn number 3, Guzik might have been able to tuck back in behind, but gets a good enough run. The truck sticks on exit. Guzik takes the lead back, and the caution comes out. Snyder in trouble indeed, yes, the number 29 with a problem. Not too terribly damaged is the 29, but nevertheless, caution number 2 on the speedway. Let's see what happened here with Heath. We'll go go full speed here down into turn 3, it looks like. Oh, this is the tunnel turn. Oh, I don't know if he started to come up, but he gets into the 89. That's Jared Haynes. We'll back this up again, see if I can get a better view from maybe the blimp. Looks like Haynes might have inched down just a hair. Gets into the right rear of Snyder and turns him into the outside wall. So under our second caution of the afternoon, top 5, Brett Guzik, Kevin Winker, Kevin Grettenberger, Brandon Domain, Ken Couch. Other notables, Chris Goins all the way up into the 6th spot. Sean Roberts up 11 positions from starting in the back. TJ Lane up 8 spots in 11th. So just about everybody going to come down pit lane here. See if we actually see some tires get changed this time. I'm kind of thinking maybe not. It is kind of early, though the fall off is going to make these guys really regret it if half the field does and the other half doesn't. We'll see what happens here. Brett Guzik into his pit stall. Does he stay on the ground? No, he's going to take at least right sides. Likely going to be 4 here. And there you see it. Some drivers, though, opting for just fuel. Brian Shepard down and away in 7.9 seconds. That was certainly fuel only. Chris Goins, same story, 8.7 seconds for the 41. Chris Watkins, well, Watkins stayed on the racetrack. Don't know if he might change his tune here because clearly he was the only one to do it. Now, Watkins did make a pit stop back on lap 3. That was during that first caution. He took fuel just to top things up and, of course, get a fast repair. Matt Sisler making a point here. Says, I think this caution does help the 93. Gets him back on the lead lap after the damage. Still not sure the situation here with Brant Morrow, if he just decided to quit. I know they all had a fast repair to start. I don't know if frustration got the better part of the 71 or what the situation there is, but nonetheless, it appears Morrow is out of this here after just completing 4 laps. Well, with that, we're going to take a quick break here. Be back for the restart after this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
flag.
Back to Pocono Raceway, green flag back in the air. Chris Watkins on the jump over Chris Goins. Again, remember, Watkins not taking the opportunity to hit pit lane out of this caution. 21 laps in here of 70 at Pocono. Brett Guzik going 3 wide to the inside of Brian Shepard. Shepard backs out. He was the meat in the sandwich. Now it's Guzik and Winker. Guzik real loose there on the bottom of the racetrack, gathers it up. Watkins maintaining the lead out of the tunnel turn, now down into the final turn, number 3. Over Chris Goins, Winker, and Couch. Guzik with another good run on a turn 3. He's going to apply some pressure here to the 88. Guzik gets by Brian Shepard here, and he's going to take 2 for 1 as he gets the spot from Ken Couch as well. Guzik now into the top 5, put it P4 to be specific. And Winker now looking to the inside on Chris Goins. It's a tough place to make a pass, but he did a good job of it. Into that tunnel turn, Kevin Winker takes the spot from Chris Goins. Winker to the inside of Chris Watkins down into turn number 1. Uncontested. Winker just goes straight on by. Again, Winker does have a little bit fresher tires. We talked about the fall off in lap time earlier on. It was almost a full 2 seconds. Winker's last lap, though, a 54.83, just about 4/10 shy of his best. Now to the inside of Chris Watkins. He'll take over that second position as well. Oh, one car slaps the wall off of turn 3. Trucks all scatter, but they gather it up, keep it straight. We stay under green. On board with Brandon Domain. Domain now making a move here for the position for 4th. It's Chris Goins in a 41 who has it. Into the tunnel turn. Domain keeps it pinned on the yellow line. Exit of the tunnel. Bigger run for the 41. Domain completes the pass on Chris Goins. So top 5 now. It's Winker, Guzik, Watkins, Domain, and Goins. Goins going to have it not for long, though. Drew Blaze pressuring. He's to the inside. Jeremy Paris working his way back through here alongside Brian Shepard. A little bit of contact out of turn 3, door to door with the 88. 28 is Scott Beardmore trying to get alongside and using the draft from Brian Shepard. Paris really backing up his entry into one. You see he's able to get back to the gas a little sooner than the 88, though. That's the advantage of backing up your entry. Get back to the power a little bit before the guy ahead of you. You can really use that and carry that momentum down the straightaways. You see he's almost able to get alongside of Shepard into the tunnel turn. Shepard slips up the track a bit, opens the door for Paris. Real loose is the 88. Beardmore dives it way to the bottom. Might have been just to avoid contact with Shepard. Now Jared Haynes in behind Shepard. To the bottom is Beardmore. Down into turn one. Oh, Beardmore slides up. Might have been a little bit of net code between the 28 and the 88 as Shepard slipped up the racetrack abruptly. Doesn't get into the wall. Shepard slipping up the racetrack again now as he tries to hold off the advance from PJ Cox. PJ better be careful because he's got a hard charge in Mitchell Howell, who's rejuvenated, being back on the lead lap. We got a change for the race lead here. Brett Guzik to the inside and Kevin Winker. Winker crosses over, goes back to the bottom, trying to take the lead back from Brett Guzik. Drag race down the Long Pond straightaway. Winker battling back here, gets alongside, not quite clear of the 04. Winker tucks back in behind. Laps go up on the board here. We're going to step aside here, get an HBR TV side-by-side break out of the way. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back in Pocono Raceway, Brett Guzik still with the race lead, but Kevin Winker making him work for it. Not even a full truck length off the tailgate of the 04 down the main straightaway here into turn 1. His pit stop starting to get underway. Chris Goins being one of those drivers. Ken Couch, PJ Cox, the others. Remember, Chris Goins made his pit stop without taking tires the last time. He's going to be forced to do it here under the green flag here this time. Or is he? Goins stays on the ground. Looks like he's just going to take some more fuel here. Couch is not going to chance it. Oh, no, there we go. It took a while. That's very interesting. I don't know if Goins just didn't have his tires checked. Now, what that means to those of you that might be iRacing novice is you have to click a little box on the screen to make sure your pit crew changes the tires. You got to be the driver. You got to be the crew chief. You got to be everything. If the driver forgot to check it, have to check it. Looks like Chris Goins might have forgotten his pit stop, 23.02 seconds. It's going to be a long stop anyway because he had to take tires under green, but a very simple mistake has cost him a lot of track position. And even with that very simple mistake, he still gets out of the pits ahead of the race leaders. It just tells you how big this place is. At 2.5 miles, again, it's not, I guess you could call it a super speedway just because of its distance, but the corners really don't have the banking to back up that kind of speed like you would see at a Daytona or a Talladega. So you can certainly afford to make a green flag stop while staying on the lead lap. Now, you still need to find a way back around. Catch those guys that you'd be fighting for position. But caution comes out right now. Chris Goins, PJ Cox, all those guys that made their pit stop just a couple of laps ago, not going to be in bad shape by any means. Chris Goins currently running in the 17th spot after that pit stop. Back out front, still Brett Guzik, 0.2 of a second over the 42 of Winker. And it's Drew Blaze in third, Grettenberger, Domain fourth and fifth. Guzik starting to put some distance on the 42. I don't know if there was a mistake made or if Guzik just grabbed another gear. It was just 0.2 of a second a lap ago, and now it's over 4 and growing. Just past halfway here from Pocono Raceway. Mitchell Howell in the pits. That S4 guy, trucks at Pocono, jealous. That's Zach Millett, for those of you who don't know who that S4 guy is. Millett, if you're out there and you're not doing anything, you know where to find me. Always welcome in the HBR TV booth. Guzik putting a lap on the 93 of Howell. So Howell took tires there. He must have been further back in the pack than Chris Goins was at the time of the pit stop. Remember, Goins was able to make his pit stop with a mistake, about an 8-second mistake, and still was able to get out without losing a lap. Howell's pit stop was clean at 15:23. He's just now behind Brett Guzik. Now, he will have fresher tires. He should be able to take this position back, or at least get himself back on the lead lap here. The old-fashioned way, as they say. Zach Millett says, would love to, but I have to work tonight. For lack of a better word, Zach, that is joyfully happy. Howell takes his lap back from Brett Guzik. We'll see if he can pull away at all, but if anything, it will help Guzik for a little bit, maybe a short term here on the straightaways, picking up some of that slipstream, some of that draft off the 93. And it sounds like Guzik might be in fuel save. Let's ride on board with the 04 and take a listen. If he's doing any kind of lift and coast down into turn 1, I thought I heard it into 3 just a moment ago. Yeah, there it is. Lift and coast. Not for long. I'm kind of wondering if Brett is... I mean, I know he's saving fuel. That's what he's trying to do. But with such a short amount of time, he might be using the throttle to get that truck to pitch. Kind of rotate it with the throttle versus the weight transfer off throttle. Lifting again. Yeah, just... Maybe he's lifting to get it to turn in. There's so many different ways to get around a racetrack while maintaining pace, but there's only a couple of ways to do it and save fuel while not sacrificing pace. And I think Guzik's trying to work on that right now. What happens when you lift off the throttle like he is, granted, yes, lift and coast, that is a great way to save gasoline. But every time you lift off the throttle in these racing machines, whether it's a car or truck, it doesn't matter, the weight shifts to the front or to the nose of the truck, which makes, in essence, the rear of the truck get a little bit light, more likely to come around. Effectively, you're going to be loose on entry, which means the rear end of the truck wants to step out just enough, which in some cases you really do need that or want that to happen because it helps to rotate it through the corner instead of sliding the nose. Guzik's being a little more aggressive on the fuel save side right now, but meanwhile, you see how far Mitchell Howell has gotten away. It's about a half straightaway. So Guzik's still the race leader. He's put a half second on Kevin Winker. 31 laps to go. A little less than 31 as they come back to the stripe. It'll be 30 laps to go. Field pretty well separated here from first to worst. Again, Morrow out of this race after a lap 2 incident. Still not sure what the situation with the 71 was as to why he didn't make it back out to the racetrack. Haven't talked a lot about TJ Elaine thus far this race. He's up to the 7th position, 12 positions gained. Those of you doing the math at home, means he started 19th. Sean Roberts just behind him, or not just behind, but a ways behind him. He's up in the 8th position, also 12 spots gained. He started dead last. Jeremy Paris has worked his way into the 9th position. Yeah, remember, Jeremy was fastest, at least in that earlier practice, prior to this session, when we had a little snafu on some issues with the session itself, so we had to set up a new one. Paris was quickest. Now, there could have been some drafting involved there, it's hard to say, but with Paris running back in the 9th spot, he's got draft to work with. Really surprised not to see the 24 closer to the front. I know he was involved in that first caution that we had with Brant Morrow. And again, unconfirmed, he may have been sent to the rear for that. I don't know. TJ Lane taking a look to the inside on Chris Klein. Lane and Klein through turn 3, side by side on exit. This battle just won't quit here. Elaine still on the bottom. TJ and Chris still fighting for this position. This is indeed for position. It would be for P6 if TJ can get clear. TJ through the tunnel turn finally takes over this position from Chris Klein, so move the 96 up into the 6th spot. And TJ, after making that pass, it was all a matter of pride. He hits pit lane. Oh, and he loses it. Too much rear brake, and the truck steps out. He might have got a piece of the pit wall with the right side. I think it might be Sean Roberts just behind that avoided the contact. Oh, and he's still got too much rear brake in it. That's what we're seeing there. And it looks like Roberts missed his pit box a bit too. Both drivers having to back it up a hair. So what we saw there is just a little bit too much rear brake bias tuned into that truck. Race cars, race trucks usually all have the ability to independently adjust the amount of brake pressure that the front and rear brakes basically have applied when you're pushing the brake pedal down. You can get real creative in some other race cars depending. You can independently adjust brake pressures from one wheel to the next. Not the case in the NASCAR style vehicles, whether it's trucks or cars, but you can dial in rear brake. The benefits of rear brake is you have a shorter distance to slow down. You can be a lot later on the brakes as we see our race leaders hit pit road. You can be much later on the brakes with a lot of rear brake dialed in. The trade-off is you do have a risk of turning the truck around on the brakes and locking up those rears. And road courses especially, you can wheel hop the daylights out of them, where it's just what it sounds like, wheel hop. Truck bounces up and down. We'll cover that vocabulary word in just a moment. But again, the trade-off is if you got a lot of rear brake in it, yes, it slows down a little bit sooner. You can go later into the corner, and it helps the truck rotate in the corner. But if you got too much rear brake, it rotates a little too well, and you run the risk of spinning out. You saw that happen with TJ just getting into pit lane, locked up the rears, and it sent him to the outside wall of pit lane, and then he locked him up again. It sent him sliding into his pit box. So it's something that you can independently adjust while you're behind the wheel. Whether you're in iRacing, you can map a button for it, or if you're in a real race car, you usually got a dial that's up on the dash. You can go left or right. You tune in front brake or rear brake, depending on what you're trying to achieve. Now going back to the wheel hop situation, which we said only on road courses, but coming to pit lane, it can certainly present itself. And as we mentioned, it sounds exactly what it sounds like, wheel hop. The wheels literally start to chatter and bounce off the ground. Makes it very difficult to keep the truck from underneath you and prevent it from spinning out. And really the only way to stop it from happening is to either A, get off the brakes, and or B, get on the throttle. The reason you got to do that is because you have to transfer that weight back to the rear tires to prevent it from happening. And it's very counterintuitive to anybody who's in a situation where you're pushing a race car or truck to its limit, trying to slow it down to make a corner, knowing that if you lift, you're not going to finish making the corner. But if you don't lift, you're probably going to be facing the wrong direction in a couple of seconds. So it's a decision, it's a split-second decision that these drivers do need to make many, many times. After Guzik's pit stop, Chris Watkins now your race leader. He still needs to make another stop, his last coming at lap 29. 23 laps to go here from Pocono Raceway. Possible change for position here. Winker and Grettenberger fighting for the third spot. Watkins stays on the track. We've got 22 laps to go, and it does appear that all but the 5 have completed their green flag pit stops. So we're going to take our final HBR-TV side-by-side break. Stay with us. You won't miss a minute of the action. You'll still have that up on your screen. We'll be right back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Pocono Raceway for the holographics. Pocono Raceway 70. Closing in on the final laps here at the 2.5 mile tricky triangle. Brett Guzik still leads over Kevin Winker. Now the advantage just over 1 second at 1.132, shrinking. Some other drivers in pit road here. Chris Cones, Brian Shepard, PJ Cox, all exiting right now. Not a whole lot of Winker Nation talk here tonight. He's running up in the second spot. If he had a little more support, maybe he'd be leading this thing. You never know. TJ Lane, Chris Klein, Sean Roberts. Roberts running at P5 under pressure from the 96. I think Roberts might have been looking in his mirror there for a moment. Dropped the left sides below the yellow line. Oh, he's right there. Maybe some contact. It was close if there wasn't. TJ looking to go to the outside. Chris Klein's going to take advantage of the riffraff here. Elaine tucks back in behind Sean Roberts with no hole to go through. He's going to try and force his way up the cut here, I think, in a moment. But the 29 of Heath Snyder's closing in. So is Scott Beardmore down into turn one. Klein gets 2 for 1 here on the blue light special at Pocono Raceway. Heath Snyder's going to try and follow him through, get two of his own. TJ Elaine, though, real racy in behind, gets a piece of the wall. Certainly impatient behind the 66. Snyder's trying to lock him in. There's Sean Arita. Pedal down, Winker. Chris Klein jumps up a couple of spots into P5. Now Roberts in P6. Snyder is 7th. Remember, Drew Blaze with 15 to go here, running in the 4th spot. He did take tires on his most recent pit stop at lap 45. Tristan, at least I took it from a 60-second cool down to at least a 30-second. Had to keep Naked HD out of here, you know. Those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, it's all in the stream chat. Catch up. But yes, talking about Drew Blaze and his extra set of tires that he may have over the wall. I'm almost certain his first 2 stops he went without taking tires, so his 3rd stop he did. 2 sets available over the wall. He may need to make one final stop before this one is over. Or cross the fingers here and hope we get a caution. Then Drew could take those tires under the yellow flag and then be in a great position to go on the attack. With that said, though, I think Guzik and Winker also have a set of tires over the wall if needed. Ken Couch finishing up his final pit stop. Top 3 are pretty close together right now. Winker really closed the gap, and the caution is out. We got trouble off turn 2, turn 3 that is. Who is it? It's a bunch. There's debris everywhere. Trucks cleared the wreck here pretty quickly. It looks like Sean Roberts may have been involved. Of course, Heath Snyder, we see here with the hood and the fender missing. He's just going to come to a stop here on the main straightaway. Sean Roberts hits the pit wall trying to get to the pit stall. So let's see if we can figure this one out. What happened here? Oh, Roberts was to the right rear of Snyder. Big time impact for the 29, and then he gets hit in the driver's door by TJ Elaine. Sends him back up the racetrack again into the wall. Man, we're glad this is a sim. We've seen a couple of hard hits here at HBR TV in the last week or so. Fingers crossed, or happy, I guess you could say, that this is not real life, folks. Yes, you can get injured playing iRacing, though it doesn't happen too often. Yes, people may not realize that. Yes, you can get hurt while iRacing. Another look at it. It's tough to tell from that angle, but man, a huge hit for the 29. I want to back it up. I want to go on board with the 66 here. Slow her way down. Snyder there to the left. Again, this coming out of turn 3. Can't really tell quite from there. Let's check the rear camera on the 29. I hate to say it, but it looks like Sean may have come down just a tiny, tiny bit. And again, it doesn't take much when you're in that section of the race truck. Doesn't work out good for anybody, really. So, third caution of the race coming here with about 13 laps to go. We have 12 to go now. Remember, Drew Blaze, really the leaders in general, may have a set of tires available to them, but there's not a lot of cars a lap down. First truck 1 lap down here is the 18th machine of Ken Couch. I'm surprised. Oh, Guzik's going to go, or does he not? Wow, I'm really surprised here. You think as you're the race leader here, you come down pit lane, either everybody stays out, or if you stay out, everybody behind you comes down pit lane. I tell you, we've said it a million times, and to quote Larry McReynolds, if you follow the leader, you're going to follow the leader, okay? He's led most of this race. We got, well, now 11 coming to 10 laps to go the next time. Guzik has been very, very strong, and I just don't think you guys are going to be able to beat him on pace alone, at least right now. You got to try and mix it up. Might be too late. Really surprised to not see anybody come down pit lane here. Jeremy Paris may have been the only one. Paris was just taking fuel here, it looks like. I don't know if he had an extra set of tires to work with. Ken Couch, his pit stop was at lap 55. TJ Lane, Jeremy Paris, the only ones in pit lane, and neither of them had tires to take. So, again, I'm rather surprised myself. We're seeing some of those comments in the stream chat as well. We'll catch up here just a bit. Going back to the cooldown. Yeah, 60-second cooldown was torture when Fahey was wrecking every 30 seconds. Let's see. Zach Millett goes mayhem with that wreck off of 3. Tristan says that hit would have killed Ken Couch in his motion rig. Carl Haynes, hurt as in cutting your finger off the beer on the beer can. Yes, there's that as well. But some of these direct drive wheels have enough torque, I guess you could say, that if you're in a wreck and you're not expecting it, you can absolutely break a wrist or a finger. I know guys personally that have legitimately broken bones in their rigs. I don't know why you got your force feedback up so high, but let's see. Sisler goes, this could be huge for Blaze if no one else up front has new tires, and thank goodness it's iRacing. That was real life. That would have been a really hard hit. And then Sisler makes another comment, says that's a surprise to me. Thought for sure Blaze would have pitted. But again, with those guys out there and nobody, if Blaze comes down and everybody else stays out, he's going to restart like 18th. There's just not enough laps left, I don't think, for those tires to really be that effective. I mean, maybe. But no one took the chance except for a couple that were already at the back. They've got nothing to lose. We'll see how those guys at the back of the pack, Ken Couch specifically, remember his pit stop? Well, his pit stop was at lap 55, so that was before the caution. But he does have the freshest set of tires, so I guess that's going to be our only litmus test here. Gotta thank Anthony King for being a new subscriber to HBRTV.com. Well, not .com. It's YouTube.com/@HBRTV1. Don't even know my own site, folks. So you see it, pace car lights are out, so that means we're going back to green flag racing. Going to be 9 laps to go when we get back to the stripe. Brett Guzik, Kevin Winker are going to lead the field down. The advantage will go to the 04 unless Winker can time this one just perfect.
Green, green, green.
Green flag back in the air. Guzik with a good jump here, 0.3 of a second, the advantage down into turn number 1. Domain takes advantage too. He's going to get that second spot from Winker. Winker's got work to do if he's going to challenge Brett Guzik. Zach Millett makes a good point. 17 watchers and only 2 likes, guys. While you're here watching, it's easy and it's free. Just click the like button. It helps us more than you know. Still side by side for the second spot. Brandon Domain, Kevin Winker. Winker tucks back in behind. Drew Blaze there in the 4th position. Klein in 5th. Eight laps to go from Pocono Raceway. Tristan Sykes, 3 likes, up to 6. All right, that number's growing. Keep it growing. Back in the pack here, TJ Elaine battling it out with Ken Couch and Sean Roberts. We thought about going 3 wide. We thought for a moment there. Down the backstretch, the long pond straightaway into the tunnel turn. Cars way up the racetrack. Mitchell Howell alongside, and Jeremy Paris gets the wall. So does TJ Elaine. Pancakes the right side, and he's slow. Drops it down to the low end of the racetrack. He might be out of this one. Tough break for the 96 as he's in the grass trying to get her straightened out. 96 machine coming to pit lane, or is he just going to pull it to a stop and exit? He is. 7 laps to go. Guzik still out in front, but Domain is closing. He is right there within half a truck length off the back bumper of the 04. Snyder 88 says, guess I'll like the stream since I'm virtually dead. Well, Snyder, we do appreciate it. Thanks, man. Tough break with the right rears. We got a battle for the race lead. Brandon Domain gets a nose to the inside on Brett Guzik off turn number 3. Tucks it back in behind. Kevin Winker's applying pressure too. It might be a bit of a help. He's going to give the 13 truck a push down the main straightaway. Will he have enough speed into turn number 1 for the race lead? Domain drops it down to the low side. Up top goes the 04. Domain can go up and block the run from Guzik. He does just that. Big time run coming out of the corner though. Thought Guzik had a run and he dives it to the inside. Goes alongside of Brandon Domain down the backstretch now. He's alongside the 13 trying to cross over and take the lead back just a lap later. Talk about threading the needle. Brett Guzik had inches between himself and Kevin Winker to make that move down low to get back to the inside of Brandon Domain. Through the tunnel turn, now into the short chute into turn 3. Domain back out in front, gets clear of the 04. Five laps to go. Brandon Domain, your race leader over Brett Guzik and Kevin Winker. Those two still battling for the second spot. In a perfect world for the 13 of Domain, let those two fight it out. But nope, Guzik making a look back to the inside. Back and forth we go for the top spot here at Pocono. Guzik just like that, back to the point, off turn number 3, coming to 4 laps to go. How long can this keep up? Guzik with the race lead over Brandon Domain, a 10th.5 the advantage for the 04. Then it's the 5 of Watkins who's jumped into the 3rd spot. Remember, he was involved in a wreck early on, used the faster pair, and has worked his way back into the top 3. Watkins taking a look on Brandon Domain now. I don't know if Brandon got too much heat into those tires. Chris Watkins alongside. Watkins does have a few lap fresher tires than these top 2 drivers. His pit stop coming at lap 49. Guzik and Domain pit at lap 45. Doesn't seem like much, but a place like Pocono Raceway, it really does make a big difference. Already losing about a full second of lap time in just this short run. Esports Gaming Network says tough place, was all over the place. We'll be on point next week. Never been good at this venue. I'm going to guess that that's TJ Elaine just based on when he went out versus me getting that message. If you could confirm there, Esports Gaming Network, let me know. Watkins and Domain still fighting it out, but Chris Goins has ran on the back bumper of the 5 here, out of turn number 2. Kevin Winker making some aggressive moves as well. We've got less than 3 laps to go. 3 wide into turn number 3. Oh boy, haven't seen this happen yet. At least not successfully. Goins way up the racetrack. He gets clear of the 5. Watkins goes from battling for 2nd back to the 4th position and trying to hold off Winker for 5th. Two laps to go. Guzik starting to stretch it out. A half-second advantage with a lap and a half to go. Meanwhile, Chris Goins making a run on Brandon Domain. Chris Goins, now he's got the freshest tires of the group. Last pit stop at 52, took 4 tires. He's up to the 2nd spot. Chris Watkins was taking a peek, but Goins shuts the door quickly. Coming through turn number 3, going to see the white flag this time for Brett Guzik, that is. Chris Goins, I don't think he's going to have enough time to reel in the 04 challenge for this race win. 7/10 the advantage for Guzik as he's down the main straight into turn 1. The battle for 2nd still hot and heavy between Goins and Brandon Domain. Domain to the inside. Goins still in a 2nd spot. Domain making that pass or trying to. It's cost him an extra spot as Chris Watkins now back in the 3rd position. Domain back to 4th. Winker still running 5th. A lot undecided back there. Goins is there, 0.2 of a second. A couple more corners to go. Does he have enough time? I didn't think he was going to reel him in that much. It's a 10.5. Off the back bumper into turn 3. Thought we were going to see a Mayfield and Earnhardt move, but not to be. Down the main straightaway for the race win. Brett Guzik's going to win it. Chris Goins a very close 2nd. 3rd place is Chris Watkins. Guzik with the win. Drivers, if you're out listening to the broadcast, top 3, please get to the green room as soon as possible. Going to try and get all 3 of you guys in here as we're getting close to our cutoff, but looks like we got it wrapped up in time. But don't delay. Get back in that green room. We'll pull you up one at a time. I gotta wonder, is Guzik out of fuel? Yeah, Guzik's out of fuel. Or close to it, at least. Zach Millett says, I would have poppled myself if he pulled that off. It's a nice sponsor plug there, Millett. Brett Guzik with the race win. Some quick burnouts, save some extra fuel to do just that. We're going to step aside, get a very short break out of the way, be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Pocono Raceway, the Holographics Pocono Raceway 70 is in the books. Brett Guzik holding off a late hard-charging number 41 of Chris Goins to take the race win. Let's see if we can pull the driver of the 04 up into the broadcast booth and get a word with our race winner, Brett Guzik and Steve with HBR TV. You got me?
Yeah, I've got you guys.
Brett, congratulations, man. A relatively dominant performance here today. Won the pole position. I think you led the most laps. Didn't really have many challengers there until the very last lap as Chris Goins was closing in with some fresher tires. Do you think you could have held him off for one more lap?
It would have been really tough. I had to do, I feel like, everything I could to keep the front tires on the car. I don't know if you could pick up on what I was trying to do, I think, there. You know, everybody would kind of gang up on me on entry at most of the corners, and then I would try and, you know, get away from them off the corner and, you know, put enough of a gap down the straightaway so that they couldn't just draft right up to the side of me. So I was trying to do that most of the race and just try and keep the front tires on it, and that's basically how we ended up winning this race.
We saw a little bit of that when you were battling with Kevin Winker. It was kind of a back and forth there for a little bit. He would seemingly get you into the corner without a problem, and you would drive around the outside and the inside. It didn't really seem to matter. You were able to make the passes back around between him and Domain. It was a fun battle to watch.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. I was just trying to do everything I could to hold those guys back. I knew if I made the tires unhappy there in the middle of the run, I was never gonna, have a good time trying to stay with them throughout the run. So I just tried to do what I could, just run the second lane on them guys, just try and hold momentum, see if I could get back by them, and ultimately, we got there. We had to actually save a little bit of fuel there in the second to last stint. So we were good to go there at the end. We were kind of biding our time, hoping there wasn't a caution. there ended up being one. So.
Well, everything came together nicely for you. You take the checkered flag, a little bit of momentum heading into next week, the final race of the season at Texas Motor Speedway. How do you feel about your chances out at No Limits, Texas?
I feel like it's, to me, it's kind of like this. It's like I don't really know if I'm going to be good at this track or not. I feel like I could, put the pieces together and, have a good run, but I don't really know. I went into the practice here. I didn't feel like I was very fast. Didn't really run that fast of a lap time during the race, but I just was, I guess, clicking off laps that were just good enough to get to the finish line first.
Well, it was a great race, Brett. Congratulations. Dominant performance, regardless of how you felt about it in practice. You take the checkered flag, man. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
I'd just like to thank everybody watching tonight. I'd like to thank you guys, HBR TV, for helping put the show on. Lonestar for putting on the league. I'd like to thank everybody watching again. Also Bill Harkins in the chat, and Sean Britt as well. So just thanks.
All right, Brett. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week at Texas.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Brett Guzik, your race winner here from Pocono Raceway. And now let's talk to the driver, the number 41 Popple Pro F-150. That's Chris Goins, the driver of that number 41. Chris, it's Steve in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Sir, Steve, got you.
Chris, congratulations, man. A well-earned second-place finish, a little bit fresher tires. I really would have liked to see how the Holographics Pocono Raceway 71 would have turned out, but only had 70 laps here tonight. Is that all it really would have taken, you think? One more lap?
I would like to think so, yeah. I gained almost a full second on Brett there on that last lap, so I was giving it everything I had, so I could get to his back bumper there in 3, but I don't think I could have given him enough shot to get him off the track without wrecking him. I don't race that way. So after forgetting to check my tires on the first green flag stop and making it a 23-second pit stop or something like that, it was I'll be happy with the second place.
Well, we said it in the broadcast. We were waiting for the Mayfield-Earnhardt moment in turn 3 here at Pocono. As you said, you don't race that way, but man, sometimes you just kind of have to throw her into the corner a little deeper than you planned, and oops.
Well, I definitely threw it in deeper than I had planned, but if I had thrown it in any deeper, I was taking us both out. So sometimes I gotta save myself while saving everybody else too. So.
Well, you almost caused Millett to popple himself if you were to win this race, but second place ends up being where you land. Who do you want to thank before we get out of here?
I want to thank Popple, Stivers Automotive Group, you guys over at HBR for broadcasting these. These are always fun to go back and watch, and LSR for putting these leagues on. These races are fun. A lot of good clean drivers. Want to thank the other drivers in the league for making it fun, and tell Tristan I made a pass on the outside this time. So
he did make a comment about that. He says, I don't think I've ever seen Chris make a pass on the outside.
Yep, I made one, and it was around 2 people. So
yeah, and it was 3 wide.
Yes, I'm good for like the next 3 races.
There you go. All right, Chris. Well, again, I did things a little out of order. Next week, Texas Motor Speedway, last race of the season. You got a win in store for us?
No.
Right.
Short answer, no. Texas is not my strongest track. So, if it goes green, maybe I can save a little bit of tire and squeak out a top 5, maybe. But Texas is not one of my strongest.
Well, we'll certainly see how it goes, Chris. Again, congratulations on a solid runner-up here at Pocono. We wish you the best of luck next week.
I appreciate it, Steve. Thanks.
It's Chris Goins, your runner-up here at Pocono Raceway. Next, we're going to talk to the driver of the 5. That is Chris Watkins. Worked his way back through some adversity here tonight. Chris, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Chris, congratulations. A solid recovery from a race that didn't look like it was going so well at a time, but you make your way back up here to the front of the field. You finished top 3. Tell us about your race.
Man, I have no idea how I ended up there, to be honest. I thought it was done on lap 6. I have no idea how we were able to get back up there.
Well, the trick to it is don't give up.
Yeah, I definitely didn't. I went on a different strategy just to try to get 1 lap led for a point under that caution. That's the only reason why I stayed out when everybody pitted. And then after that, I had to run with it and run at the back by myself, kind of let me, run my own race. And then at the end, I was just there.
Well, it worked out for you in the end, a top 3 finish. It's a solid run here at Pocono. Gives you a little bit of momentum going into Texas Motor Speedway next week. How do you feel about your chances out there?
Not very good. I'm not very solid there. It's hit or miss with me there. So we'll see. Hopefully I can get some practice through the week and be able to at least finish top 5. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, Chris, we certainly look forward to it, man. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
A shout out to you guys for broadcasting this, Lonestar Racing for putting this on, Tri-City Speed. Man, this has just been a great season. Thank you guys all for putting this on.
Happy to do it. Thanks for the kind words, Chris. Certainly good luck next week out of Texas.
Thanks, man.
Chris Watkins, your 3rd place finisher here from Pocono Raceway. Let's take a look here at our official race results, barring any kind of crazy penalties that may come up. Brett Guzik, of course, your winner. Chris Goins, Chris Watkins, your balance of the top three. Kevin Winker finishes fourth. Brian Shepard comes back to finish fifth. Brandon Domain sixth. PJ Cox was seventh. Eighth place finisher was Kevin Grettenberger. Drew Blaze was ninth. Ken Couch 10th. Mitchell Howell was 11th. Scott Beardmore 12th. Jeremy Paris finishes in the 13th spot. Chris Klein was 14th. Tim Stubblefield finishes in the 15th spot. Sean Roberts was 16th. Jared Haynes 17th. TJ Lane finishes in the 18th spot, 8 laps down after a late race incident put him into the fence. And the 19th place finisher was Heath Snyder, and 20th going to Brant Morrow. It's your race results here from Pocono Raceway, the Howell Graphics Pocono Raceway 70. I want to thank you guys once again for tuning it up here in the stream chat. As always, you guys really do a great job at that, and you make my life so much simpler. I really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate it as this season wraps up. Let's make it bigger and better even next week here at Texas Motor Speedway for the season finale. Don't forget, though, after that, as long as we get enough driver count into that Drought Buster race, that's going to be on the 16th of November. I believe that's at Homestead, Miami Speedway. That's going to be comprised of all the drivers that did not win a race this season. At least those are the eligible drivers that are to run it. So we may have that broadcast here at HBR TV as well. It's kind of a TBA type situation. But either way, do appreciate you guys being here. Again, as we said earlier in the broadcast, give us a like on the stream. If you're in here watching it tonight, that's something that's free and easy to do. We'll just consider that your admission fee for watching it. Just click the like button. It helps us quite a bit, more than you realize. Not just us, but even the leagues that we're covering. It gets more eyeballs on things, and it's just a bonus all the way around. Also, if you haven't already checked it out, hbrtv1.com, the website. We've got some links up there as far as the live stream, some pictures, that sort of thing. It's not too detailed. We're kind of in process, I guess you could call it. But help us out. Give us some traffic there. We do appreciate it. With that, that's going to wrap it up for us here at Pocono Raceway. I'm Steve Singer, congratulating Brett Guzik on his race win here in the Howell Graphics Pocono Raceway 70. We'll see you guys next week, next Thursday, for the season finale out at Texas Motor Speedway. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a good night.